Okay, hi everyone, welcome back to this video series on Windows Server 2012, planning a group policy strategy. Through the use of group policy settings, system administrators can control many different aspects of their network environment. As you'll see through this chapter, system administrators can use GPOs to configure user settings and computer configurations. Windows Server 2012 R2 includes many different administrative tools for performing these tasks. However, it is important to keep in mind that, as with many aspects of using Active Directory, a successful group policy strategy involves planning because there are thousands of possible group policy settings and many different ways to implement them. You should start by determining the business and technical needs of your organization. For example, you should first group your users based on their work functions. You might find, for example, that users in remote branch offices require particular network configuration options. In that case, you want to implement group policy settings best at the site level. In another instance, you might find that certain departments have varying requirements for disk quota settings. In this case, it would probably make the most sense to apply GPOs to the appropriate department or use within the domain. The overall goal should be to reduce complexity, for example, by reducing the overall number of GPOs and GPO links while still meeting the needs of your users. By taking into account the various needs of your users and the parts of your organization, you can often determine a logical and efficient method of creating and applying GPOs. Although it's rare that you'll come across a right or wrong method of implementing group policy settings, you will usually encounter some that are either better or worse than others. By implementing a logical and consistent set of policies, you'll also be well prepared to troubleshoot any problems that might come up or to adapt to your organization's changing requirements. Later in this chapter, you'll learn about some specific methods for determining effective group policy settings before you apply them. Implementing group policy. Now that I've covered the basic layout and structure of group policies and how they work, let's look at how you can implement them in an Active Directory environment. In the following sections, you'll start by creating GPOs. Then you'll apply these GPOs to specific Active Directory objects, and you'll take a look at how to use administrative templates, creating GPOs. In Windows Server 2000 and Windows Server 2003, you could create GPOs from many different locations. For example, you could use Active Directory users and computers to create GPOs on your OUs along with other GPO tools. In Windows Server 2012 R2, things are simpler. You can create GPOs for OUs in only one location. Group Policy Management Console, GPMC. You have your choice of 3 applications for setting up policies on your Windows Server 2012 R2 computers. Local Computer Policy Tool. This administrative tool allows you to quickly access the group policy settings that are available for the local computer. These options apply to the local machine and to users who access it. You must be a member of the local administrators group to access and make changes to these settings. Administrators may need the ability to work on multiple local group policy objects, MLGPOs, at the same time. To do this, you would complete the following steps. You can't configure MLGPOs on domain controllers. Open the MMC by typing MMC in the run command. Click File and then click Add Remove Snap-in. From the available snap-ins list, choose Group Policy Object Editor and click Add. In the Select Group Policy Object dialog box, click the Browse button. 5. Click the Users tab in the Browse for the Group Policy Object dialog box. 6. Click the user or group for which you want to create or edit a local group policy and click OK. 7. Click OK. 7. Click Finish and then click OK. 8. Configure the multiple policy settings. Group Policy Management Console. You must use the GPMC to manage group policy deployment. The GPMC provides a single solution for managing all group policy related tasks, and it is also best suited to handle enterprise level tasks such as forest related work. The GPMC allows administrators to manage group policy and GPOs all from one easy to use console, whether their enterprise solution spans multiple domains and sites within one or more forests or is local to one site. The GPMC adds flexibility, manageability, and functionality. Using this console, you can also perform other functions such as backup and restore, importing, and copying. Auditpool.exe is a command line utility that works with Windows Vista, Windows 7, Windows 8, Windows Server 2008, Windows Server 2008 or 2, Windows Server 2012, and Windows Server 2012 or 2. An administrator has the ability to display information about policies and also perform some functions to manipulate audit policies. Table 6.1 shows some of the switches available for auditpool.exe. Exercise 6.1 walks you through the process of installing the Group Policy Management MMC snap-in for editing group policy settings and creating a GPO. Exercise 6.1. Creating a group policy object using the GPMC. 1. Click the Windows button and choose Administrative Tools, Group Policy Management. The Group Policy Management tool opens. 2. Expand the forest domains, your domain name, and North America containers. Right-click the corporate OU and then choose Create a GPO in this domain and link it here. 3. When the new GPO dialog box appears, type warning box in the name field, click OK. 4. The new GPO will be listed on the right side of the Group Policy Management window. Right-click the GPO and choose Edit. 5. In the Group Policy Management Editor, expand the following: Computer Configuration, Policy Window Settings, Security Settings, Local Policies, Security Options. On the right side, scroll down and double-click Interactive Logon Message Text for users attempting to log on. 6. Click the box to find this policy setting in the template. In the text box, type unauthorized use of the machine is prohibited and then click OK. Close the GPO and return to the GPMC main screen. 7. Under the domain name in the GPMC, right-click Group Policy Objects and choose New. 8. When the new GPO dialog box appears, type Unlinked Test GPO in the name field, click OK. 9. On the right side, the new GPO will appear. Right-click Unlinked Test GPO and choose Edit. 10. Under the User Configuration section, click Policies, Administrative Templates, Desktop. On the right side, double-click Hide and disable all items on the desktop and then click Enable. Click OK and then close the GPMC. Linking existing GPOs to Active Directory. Creating a GPO is the first step in assigning group policies. The second step is to link the GPO to a specific Active Directory object. As mentioned earlier in this chapter, GPOs can be linked to sites, domains, and OUs. Exercise 6.2 walks you through the steps that you must take to assign an existing GPO to an OU within the local domain. In this exercise, you will link the test domain policy GPO to an OU. To complete the steps in this exercise, you must have completed exercise 6.1. Exercise 6.1, linking existing GPOs to Active Directory. 1. Open the Group Policy Management Console. 2. Expand the forest and domain controllers. Right-click the Africa OU. 3. Choose Link an existing GPO. 4. The Select GPO dialog box appears. Click Unlinked Test GPO. Click OK. 5. Close the Group Policy Management Console. Managing Group Policy. Now that you have implemented GPOs and applied them to sites, domains, and OUs within Active Directory, it's time to look at some ways to manage them. In the following sections, you'll look at how multiple GPOs can interact with one another and the ways that you can provide security for GPO management. Using these features is an important part of working with Active Directory, and if you properly plan group policy, you can greatly reduce the time the help desk spends troubleshooting common problems. Managing GPOs. One of the benefits of GPOs is that they are modular and can apply to many different objects and levels within Active Directory. This can also be one of the drawbacks of GPOs if they are not managed properly. A common administrative function related to using GPOs is finding all of the Active Directory links for each of these objects. You can do this when you are viewing the Linked Group Policy Objects tab of the site domain or OU in the GPMC shown in figure 6.2. In addition to the common action of delegating permissions on OUs, you can set permissions regarding the modification of GPOs. The best way to accomplish this is to add users to the group policy creator owner's built-in security group. The members of this group are able to modify security policy. Windows Management Instrumentation. Windows Management Instrumentation WMI scripts are used to gather information or to help GPOs deploy better. The best way to explain this is to give an example. Let's say you wanted to deploy Microsoft Office 2013 to everyone in the company. You would first set up a GPO to deploy the Office package explained later in the section deploying software through GPO. You can then place a WMI script on the GPO stating that only computers with 10 gig of hard disk space actually deploy Office. Now, if a computer has 10 gig of free space, the Office GPO will get installed. If the computer does not have the 10 gig of hard disk space, the GPO will not deploy. You can use the WMI scripts to check for computer information such as MAC addresses. WMI is a powerful tool because if you know how to write scripts, the possibilities are endless. The following script is a sample of a WMI that is checking for at least 10 gig of free space on the C partition volume. Select from Win32 logical disk where free space greater than 107.37418.240 and caption equals capital C. Security filtering of a group policy. Another method of securing access to GPOs is to set permissions on the GPOs themselves. You can do this by opening the GPMC, selecting the GPO, and clicking the Advanced button in the Delegation tab. The Unlinked Test GPO Security Settings dialog box appears. See figure 6.3. The following permissions options are available: full control, read, write, create all child objects, delete all child objects, apply group policy. You might have to scroll the permissions window to see the apply group policy item of these. The apply group policy setting is particularly important because you use it to filter the scope of the GPO. Filtering is the process by which selected security groups are included or excluded from the effects of the GPO. To specify that the settings should apply to a GPO, you should select the Allow checkbox for both the Apply Group Policy setting and the Read setting. These settings will be applied only if the security group is also contained within a site, domain, or OU to which the GPO is linked. To disable GPO access for a group, choose Deny for both of these settings. Finally, if you do not want to specify either Allow or Deny, leave both boxes blank. This is effectively the same as having no setting. In exercise 6.3, you will filter group policy using security groups. Exercise 6.3, filtering group policy using security groups. 1. Open the Active Directory Users and Computers Administrative tool. 2. Create a new OU called Group Policy Test. 3. Create a new global security groups within the Group Policy Test OU and name them Policy Enabled and Policy Disabled. 4. Exit Active Directory and Users and Computers. Open the GPMC. Right-click the Group Policy Test OU and select Link an existing GPO. 6. Choose Unlinked Test GPO. Click OK. 7. Expand the Group Policy Test OU so that you can see the GPO Unlinked Test GPO underneath the OU. 8. Click the Delegation tab and then click the Advanced button in the lower right corner of the window. 9. Click the Add button and type Policy Enabled in the Enter the object names to select field. Click the Check Names button, then click OK. 10. Add a group named Policy Disabled in the same way. 11. Highlight the Policy Enabled group and select Allow for Read and apply group policy permissions. This ensures that users in the Policy Enabled group will be affected by this policy. 12. Highlight the Policy Disabled group and select Deny for the Read and apply group policy permissions. This ensures that users in the Policy Disabled group will not be affected by this policy. 13. Click OK. You will see a message stating that you are choosing to use the Deny permission and that the Deny permission takes precedence over the Allow entries. Click the Yes button to continue. 14. When you are finished, close the GPMC tool. So we'll keep going. Delegating administrative control of GPOs. So far, you have learned about how to use group policy to manage user and computer settings. What you haven't done yet is determine who can modify GPOs. It's important to establish the appropriate security on GPOs themselves for 2 reasons. If the security settings aren't set properly, users and system administrators can easily override them. This defeats the purpose of having the GPOs in the first place. Having many different system administrators creating and modifying GPOs can become extremely difficult to manage. When problems arise, the hierarchical nature of GPO inheritance can make it difficult to pinpoint the problem. Fortunately, through the use of delegation, determining security permissions for GPOs is a simple task. Exercise 6.4 walks you through the steps that you must take to grant the appropriate permissions to a user account. Specifically, the process involves delegating the ability to manage group policy links on an Active Directory object, such as an OU. Exercise 6.4. Delegating administrative control of group policy. 1. Open the Active Directory users and computers tool. 2. Expand the local domain and create a user named policy admin within the group policy test OU. 3. Exit Active Directory users and computers and open the GPMC. 4. Click the group policy test OU and select the delegation tab. 5. Click the add button. In the field, enter the object name to select, type policy admin and click the check names button. 6. To add group or users dialog box appears in the permissions drop-down list. Make sure that the item labeled edit settings, delete, modify security is chosen. Click OK. 7. At this point, you should be looking at the group policy test delegation window. Click the advanced button in the lower right corner. 8. Highlight the policy admin account and check the allow full control box. This user now has full control of these OUs and all child OUs and GPOs for these OUs. Click OK. If you just want to give this user individual rights, then in the properties window, step 8, click the advanced button and then the effective permissions tab. This is where you can also choose a user and give them only the rights that you want them to have. 9. When you are finished, close the GPMC tool. So I'm going to leave it here today for this video. If you like listening, please consider like, sharing and subscribing. Thank you.